My dad had a really bad alcohol use disorder. Um, Later on, found out that he was also addicted to prescription pain medications, which I didn't really find out more about till I got
Okay.
older. That was kind of left under the rug type of thing for a while. Um, but growing up, it was kind of just a known thing that he was drinking a
Hmm.
lot. He would disappear for, you know, randomly around the house. He'd be out in the garage for a few minutes, or he'd go out in the basement for a few minutes, and so just kind of that kind of thing. And then like after school events, he would forget to pick me up a
Oh,
lot, and
oh,
that caused some issues with my after school
yeah.
stuff. Um, so when I got a little bit older, um, he had gotten a few DUIs here and there, just sporadically. Um, and then when I was around 16 years old, um, I was at my friend's house and I asked my dad if he could come
Hmm.
get me because I had school the next
Right.
day. And so he agreed. I think my mom must have probably been at work, or I don't know, she was somewhere. So my dad came and picked me up, and on our way home, he actually ended up getting into a car
Mhm.
accident and actually left the
Mm.
scene. We just backed up and act like it
Oh,
didn't
wow.
happen, and went home. Um, and then a few minutes later, a couple cops show
Ooh.
up to arrest my dad because we found out that they identified the car through me because we ended up hitting one of my friend's friends who sat at
Oh,
my lunch table.
man.
So they saw me in the
Yeah.
car, and that's how my dad was identified and put in jail for another DUI and leaving the scene of a car accident.
Wow.
And then putting me in danger as well.
Yeah, not to mention the humiliation of having to go back to school.
Right, exactly, exactly. So, after all of that, my mom ended up deciding to divorce my dad, or separate with my
Okay.
dad. He ended up getting hit by a car again. He had gotten hit by a car in his 20s while he was drinking, and he ended up getting hit by a car
Oh, man.
again. Um, and so he was in some pretty bad shape. He was having really bad detoxification issues because back then there wasn't really anything available for people with substance use disorders. He was put in a nursing home and kind of left to fend on his own. So that was really hard to see, seeing just the decline of his health physically and
Right.
mentally. Um, and then in 2009, I was working at the zoo. I'd worked there for quite some time, and my brother and my mom ended up showing up one day, and I still remember them walking in, and I was so excited to see them. They'd never come visit me
Mm.
before, so I was like really ecstatic
Yeah.
to see them. And then I kind of noticed the look on my brother's face as he was walking in that something wasn't right. And I found out that day that my dad had passed away. And then later ended up finding out that he completed suicide um, in July 31st,
Mm.
2009, when I was 19 years old.
Oh, sorry. I'm
So,
sorry.
yeah. So, yeah, just dealing with that. I was going to school. I kind of was undecided, was looking into physical therapy, but that ultimately kind of kick-started my desire to help
Mm.
people mentally with whether it be mental health disorders or substance use
Right.
disorders. My cat's about to knock my phone down.
Guest, you had a guest
No,
appearance.
okay. So, um, yeah, that ultimately made me decide that I want to help people, that there's just such a stigma against people with mental health and substance use. And although I've never personally struggled with substance use, it is something that I'm extremely passionate about, and I love helping people with
Hmm.
that. So Yeah, that really just kickstarted my desire to help
Yeah,
people
I
get
can see
better.
why. So what? So that I can see that had a big impact on you. It had to. It put you on the path you're
Absolutely.
on now. So what are you doing now?
So now I work at Harbor as a substance use disorder therapist. I do individuals as well as IOP sessions. Um, and then I also try to do as much as I can with like NAMI. When I was going for my master's degree, I was an intern there, so I got involved with that. So I'm hoping, especially this year, hoping to be on the committee and help a lot with the walk,
Mm.
and then also with the Out of the Darkness walk. I've also been pretty involved with that over the years since my dad passed
Mm-hmm.
away. So,
So back up,
and I think
back up,
just
back up for the newbies. Explain NAMI, please?
NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
That's okay.
Sorry. It's all over the United States. It's a great resource that I think kind of does not get the recognition that it deserves. There's a lot of great things that they offer and a lot of support that they
Mm.
offer. Just a little tiny office that has a lot of great resources and a lot of great
Mm, that's awesome.
references, um,
So for
and helps spread the word and break the
and
stigma.
that's a big deal, right? There's a lot of people who won't ask for help because of the stigma. So if somebody's really
Yeah.
struggling with something, they need to reach out to somebody. Can they just go to nami.org or where do they go?
Yep, they can go ahead and they can go on the NAMI website. They could even probably just honestly show up there. There's social workers there. Um, yeah, you could pretty much go on their website. Their website has a lot of information. Even if you look on their
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, have information on there. Really utilize the internet to your
Sure. I would
advantage.
hear that or walk up to the harbor door and knock and ask for Amanda, right?
Here
Yeah,
I am.
Nami, Nami might be the shorter path, unless you're there in that area. Okay, so that's really good stuff. Tell me more. I mean, it sounds like you're involved in a fair amount of stuff.
Yeah. I think too. Just the biggest impact for me is just word of mouth. Um, I used to get really angry and almost discouraged by hearing stuff that people have to say about mental
Right.
illness or substance use or suicide. Um, and I've learned to kind of channel that anger and frustration into my advantage of knowledge and trying to educate people more about what mental illness is and what a substance use disorder is, not what it looks like or what it appears to be. Um, and I think that has gotten me pretty far with a lot of
Mm,
people, especially on a one-on-one
yeah.
basis. In the ground with all of that is not being so aggressive about
Yeah.
taking the opportunity and just having a conversation.
Yeah.
It really has had an impact.
Mm. There's we had an event once. And I asked people to put your head down and close your eyes and raise your hand if you'd ever attempted suicide, and the number of people that had attempted suicide was surprisingly high. So if somebody, if somebody's in
Absolutely.
that dark place and they don't know where to go and they don't know how to get to Nami and they don't know how to get to Harbor, if they're thinking about suicide, what do you encourage them to do? Just to first step.
Talk to
Yeah.
somebody. Um, Reach out to somebody, anybody who's willing to listen. Realize that you're not alone. A lot of times when you're in that dark place, you feel like you're alone and that there's nothing to live for, but you'd be surprised how many people actually care about you
Yeah.
and actually want to see you get better, even the people that you wouldn't expect on a daily basis to be concerned about who you are or what you're doing with your life. There's so many people out there that actually really care about
Yeah.
you and want to see you do well. So definitely reaching out, talking to somebody.
Great message. Great message. Because you may be in a really dark point in time, but it's just a point in time, right? And if you can get through that point in time, and if you
Absolutely.
don't give up, right? Never give up.
Got semicolon.
That's right. Don't give up because it will get better.